Charlotte. He could go over to the game and help out the Wolfpack. He joins us now, but he's busy. He covers the Carolina Panthers, who have had, I think, a very productive, albeit expensive start to the new league year. How would you assess, sir, what the Panthers have done so far?
I would say it was pretty, dare I say, spectacular to open up.
You can.
And it was going to be hard to keep up that pace with those two big dollar signings with Jalen Phillips and Devin Lloyd. And frankly, I do think because they made that commitment, financial commitment, that the other signings we're going to see trickle in with maybe with one exception, maybe are going to be what we have seen. A few $million for Kenny Pickett, $3 million or whatever it was for center Luke Fortner, and which is fine. Right. I mean, you can't, unless you're the Raiders and we're sitting at, $200 million or 100, whatever it was under the cap. You had to make choices, and Dan Morgan and Brandon Tillis and Dave Canales made the choice that they were going to go big time on that front seven, and it's hard to argue. I mean, my one quibble would probably be that you're paying a lot for future production for Jalen Phillips.
Right.
He's a guy's never had 8 sacks in his career. He's got good pressure rates. Like his other metrics, pass rush wise, are good, but he also has had some issues with injuries. But they paid him a lot of money. The Devin Lloyd deal, I thought, was really almost, a value type signing. I mean, they were projecting, The Athletic and others were projecting.
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of this guy. Who's the Adam? Let me pull this up. Who is that Adam Gold Show? Literally never heard of this guy. The Adam Gold Show. Oh, so it's a Raleigh thing. Okay.
He got 19 and 20 million a year, and I think he got 15 at most. I want to see those numbers. I think they might have even gotten him less than 15 million a year.
I said the other day that I like Jalen Phillips. I like the Devin Lloyd acquisition more than I like the Jalen Phillips deal. I think for whatever reason, it seems to me, and I know there's an injury history with Jalen Phillips. He was like top 15, top 20 pass rusher in terms of win rate, in terms of pressures and all of that. The sack totals weren't great, only 5 last year. They'd love to get the Jalen Phillips from years 1 and 2 before the Achilles injury. Right. But he looked like he was pretty effective last year. Of course, it's easier to be effective on Philadelphia's defensive line because everybody else is just such a masher that, you've got another guy who's talented, but he wasn't probably facing a ton of double teams either. So, and whenever you sign a free agent in year 6, and I realize that Devin Lloyd is also year 6, man, part of me wonders if their best isn't behind them. Just the nature of the National Football League. You'd like to develop your own guys at that position, but at least they've addressed defense, right?
For sure. And Devin Lloyd's actually going into his 5th year.
Okay.
So a year behind, a year younger. That was fascinating. Like the Jaguars did not pick up his 5th-year option, which is why he was available and why he hit the market. And as soon, a couple months after they declined that option, he went out and had the season of his career. And the thing that impressed me, and I know he played some safety at Utah, and I'm not saying he's, the next Luke Kuechly in terms of game changer and game taking the ball away. And I do think, when a linebacker has 5 interceptions, some of those are ball pops in the air and he grabs it. But there were a couple, that I can't say I grinded all the tape on Devin Lloyd, but like it was real easy to go watch the 99-yard return against Patrick Mahomes. And that was a terrific play in which he kind of read Mahomes' eyes, makes a break on the ball and, just a real athletic play. I'm like you. I think that guy, one of my friends at True Media who used to work for The Athletic, I asked him if he might be able to dig me up some interesting stats on each of these two guys we're talking about. And what he sent me back on Devin Lloyd, again, this is True Media, whatever. And I put this in one of my columns this week. His 5 interceptions last year, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others for number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers over the 6 seasons since Luke Kuechly retired. And I just thought that told a lot about Devin Lloyd and what he can bring. The entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others for number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside line, and I put this in one of my columns this week. His 5 interceptions last year, of course, tied J.C. Horn and others
That's
number 2 in the league. Those also matched the entire interception total for the Carolina Panthers inside linebackers over the 6 seasons since Luke Kuechly retired. And
that is insane. That is legitimately insane. I don't know why I'm that surprised, but the fact that and once again, a lot of those plays were, I don't think he's going to get 6 interceptions this year. But the fact that the hole that Luke Kuechly has left, that is crazy. That's insane.
I just thought that told a lot about Devin Lloyd and what he can bring to this defense.
Yeah, I mean, he's athletic, he's fast, he can drop into coverage, and last time we saw that was Luke Kuechly. I love this signing again more than I liked Jalen Phillips. And now that they've focused on defense and they've addressed 2, I think, glaring weaknesses, now they're free to do whatever they want with 19, which might even include trading back. But I've been harping on left tackle. What are you hearing about where they might address next when they get to the draft?
Well, you hit on it. I mean, this is a team that right now, the one signing that we should talk about at left tackle and right tackle, a swing type guy, is this Stone Forsythe,
right?
Which to me just reeked of a guy who was familiar with this staff, was with Canales and Brad Idzik in Seattle, and listen, they didn't pay him a ton of money.
No.
It's $1 million, 1.9, whatever it was. That means you're not paying him that to go be even for like 6 games, while I'm throwing that number out there, while Ike Ekwonu continues his rehab from knee surgery. You're not, this is a guy, you've seen the numbers. He was last in the league in terms of tackles with 11 sacks allowed, last 89th out of 89 qualified tackles. Now, 3 of those came at the hands of Myles Garrett. So
okay.
we'll give him some grace there. But I watched tape of this guy. He's 6'8". He passes the eye test, but just not real athletic, not real nimble, and got Geno Smith and Kenny Pickett killed a lot in Vegas last year. So I don't like that signing. And then Josh Nijman announces last night, kind of out of the blue, that he's retiring. Right. I get the impression, Adam, that kind of caught the Panthers a little bit by surprise. And again, not that Josh Nijman's going to be the long-term answer at left tackle. All of which is to say is this team is feeling. I'm even before free agency, I thought left tackle was a very real option at 19. Even more so now. I mean, I for whatever it's worth, in my last mock, I had the Freeling kid at Georgia, being there at 19. I mean, that's that's touch and go. I mean, these tackles, as as this process goes along, that is a premium.
I mean, I think Freeling is not going to be available at 19. Everything, really, I think the way the league is thinking about Freeling is that he's going to go to Cleveland at 6. Like, I just don't see it happening, right? Like, I do not see that happening. So I think if the Panthers want to go left tackle, the left tackles that are probably in that range of outcomes are Blake Miller. I think Caden Proctor might be there, but I'm not a big Caden Proctor guy, so I don't really know that I want Proctor. But yeah, I just think there's a wide, I don't know. I'm not opposed to taking tackle. This is the reason you did this is because you wanted to do best player available. So go get best player available, regardless of what the position is. That's the whole point of BPA.
And premier position, and it may be that he goes earlier than 19.
And I've had conversations with you about this. Others, Ryan Wilson from CBS, I know he is mocking Caden Proctor, the tackle from Alabama, to Carolina at 19. I've been saying this about Ike Ekwonu for a long time. I like Ike. I don't think he is a top half of the league left tackle when healthy. I think he's good. Right. I think that he probably, maybe even in the long-term plans of Carolina, on the right side when it's time for Taylor Moton to move on, that you just shift him over there where he's a mauling run blocker anyway, first and foremost, and then you find your real franchise left tackle, because it has not helped Bryce Young that he's getting too much pressure and you need to have too much help to keep pressure off Bryce on his blind side. I think their offense would work much better with a better left tackle.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. I mean, I'm with you on Ickey. I think he has gotten better. He had that 1 year, 2 or 3 years ago where he really struggled. I think it was Bryce's rookie year, and he's improved since then.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it for him personally.
The injury,
the timing of this injury. You know, you want all these guys. It's such a brutal sport, and it's such a small window for these guys to make their money. And you know, we'll see. He rehabs well and gets back maybe more quickly than folks are expecting, because the Panthers still have been very guarded about a timeline on that.
I know,
and I don't know if that's because they don't want the rest of the league to know that.
Probably.
It also too. I actually did ask this question of someone in the building. You know, why the ambiguity. God, I can't say that word today. I shouldn't even have tried. But why are you hemming and hawing? Let's do that on this timeline. It's like, well, this is first of all, it is a very, very serious injury, as you know, patellar tendon. And guys do have different return times. I think ACL maybe a little bit more clear cut on the return to play, but this patellar tendon, you know, but at any rate, we know he's going to miss a chunk of time next year. And
I probably shouldn't say this, but AutoZone hates when you do this before Black Friday, but they can't stop you. Now watch this. You can fix it easily at home yourself. All you have to do, rub it for about 30 seconds, then just walk away and let it sit like 30 minutes. Let the magic happen. Come back with a little water, then wipe it off, and boom.
I still think, and you didn't ask me this, that they should sign another stopgap type guy who's better than Stone Forsythe.
Right.
And draft a guy for the reasons you mentioned. Like Taylor Moton is finally.
I agree with Person wholeheartedly here. I think that's not being talked about enough. I mean, I literally just said it 5 minutes ago, right? Like, Moton's about to retire. Moton's literally about to retire. Like, it is.
After years of being the Iron Man where he didn't come off the field, is finally showing a little wear and tear. And so you get a guy, and then you start developing him, and whether it's Freeling or Proctor or somebody else. And who knows? It may be it's like, oh, actually, we need you on the right side before we need you on the left, because Taylor Moton's kind of nearing the end. So I like 19 for a tackle. We got another month and a half to hash this out, but I like where you're thinking on that too.
Final thing for Joe Person from The Athletic at Joseph Person, and I don't believe we have basketball on the main channel today. I don't think the folks at William and Mary are paying attention to what's ambiguity. I know. Look, I forget everybody's name all the time. What is the cap situation? Going into free agency, I mean, I'd seen numbers ranging from like 8 million to 20 something million. And I know they've already made moves to restructure deals. They restructured Derek Brown. They're probably going to restructure JC Horn. They have let other players go. What is the cap situation? And do they have room to do something else on a, minor, mid-level basis, something, somewhere near what they paid Devin Lloyd?
For sure. Well, maybe not Devin Lloyd, but I think I read, Adam, they're around 30 after cutting A'Shawn Robinson, which was 10.5.
Yep.
And then, as you said, Derek Brown, which was 13.5, the restructure. But I don't know if that's reflective of, like I said, I mean, these guys were just they were starting to just file through the stadium yesterday to get these contracts signed.
Right.
So I don't know that some of these public sites, which are very good, by the way, the folks who run Spot Track and Over the Cap, much more financially and mathematically sound than my William and Mary background. But they're in good shape cap-wise. I mean, I think, as I mentioned this earlier, I think we saw, though, that it was like after that flurry, that 1-2 punch flurry of Phillips and Lloyd, it wasn't going to be like, okay, we're shopping at the top end of the center market,
right,
and we're shopping at the top end of the backup quarterback market. I don't know if there is a top end there, but and I think if someone popped that they really, I don't even know who it would be. I mean, Bradley Chubb's already signed.
Yeah.
I was thinking someone in that ballpark could they create some more? Absolutely. And you mentioned J.C. Horn would be the first place to start. And so I think they feel pretty good about where they are. And this is Brant Tillis and Morgan. I give them credit. They have not wanted to kick the can too far down the road on these restructures. So I think they're going to try to limit those. But Derek Brown's a guy who's going to be around a while. I think that one will age well.
Derek Brown's got basically an $11 million cap hit for this year. That's unfair.
Well, then it jumps to like 30 next year.
Sure, but for this year,
That's right. And
they can.
While you got it.
I don't know how many times you can